Hey, then it's Saturday, Sunday. What? It's Friday, then it's Saturday, Sunday. What? Back with Empty Netters Puckline News brought to you by BetMGM. It is Friday on the long weekend, and we are still here. We're still horny, and we are ready to talk about hockey. We got CP coming at you remote from Maine, and our boy, the third Empty Netter, Johnny Laz, coming at us from New York City, looking beautiful, looking sharp. He's glowing. He's all glistening. It's amazing. How are you, pal?
Big girlfriend guy. Day one. Day one of a new relationship. So,
I was about to. I was like, oh, I'm gonna call him out, but then I was like, oh, I would never do that to him.
I said it on our show
and
this
then
morning.
You did it.
Yeah, I said it on the show this morning. So, it's funny actually. Like, let's say it had gone official on like Monday. I would have told, because Frank Sarabelli always comes on our show on Tuesday. I would have told Frank to like make it breaking news, but like
that actually would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
You are such a bitch, dude.
Yeah. At least I know it. I don't pretend that I'm not.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You own it. You own, and also it's great. It's charming. I love it.
Yeah.
Love is great. Love is great. How we doing, boys? We got a great day of hockey ahead of us. We got great talking points today. The Cats absolutely bitch slapped the Canes again. Absolutely insane. But CP, you had a good little talking point. Since we got Laz with us here, Laz has a sexy little brunch he has to get to. But while we have it, you had a good talking point about the Atlantic and the Met, which is going on right now in this matchup. So kick us off.
Okay, well, I'm not deading this series yet for all the Canes fans out there. We still have a lot of hockey to play, but if the Panthers were to go on and win this series, it would be the 7th year in a row that the Atlantic team has won the Eastern Conference Finals. That goes all the way back to Washington winning the Cup. That's when it went through. So I just kicked it as a Rangers fan. I wanted to kick it to Laz to be like, is this just typical pendulum swinging of the cyclical nature of the league, or do you have a theory as to why that's been the streak for so long now?
Well, it's been two teams. It's not like it's just all the teams in division, right? It's been Tampa and Florida. And you're talking about 2019, right? Boston sweeping Carolina was, I guess, the start of
the other one. Yep.
That was the start of it all. So even thinking back to like those previous series, like the first, I know Boston sweeps Carolina in 2019. 2020, Islanders get it to 6 games. 2021, Islanders get it to 7 games. 2022, Rangers get it to 6 games. They had a 2-0 lead in the series. Tampa wins 4 straight. 2023, we all know it's the Florida Carolina, we didn't get swept series, even though all 4 games were 1-goal games, like close games, could have gone either way. And then last year, Rangers again, 2-2 going into game 5. They lose on home ice. They lose in 6, 1-goal game. It's like, I don't think it's by any means like dominance. It's just two teams that have been really good for a really long time. And I think that's what you're seeing. Even in the West, like, Dallas has now gotten to 3 straight conference finals. It's just, again, a dominant team. Like that's what we see in the NHL. It was the Kings, the Blackhawks, like, 10 years ago, the Penguins 10 years ago. Like it's just kind of what it is. Like these teams get hot and they go on runs for a couple of years. They knock on the door and then things change. But I don't know if it's really like an Atlantic versus Met thing or just dominant teams coming out of Florida.
And dude, I had a theory. It's not my theory, but there's sometimes I think that the stronger division almost has a disadvantage because you kind of beat the shit out of yourself all the way to round 3. But that kind of hasn't happened here, right? Like, because I do feel like the Atlantic's been stronger, and you're like, Florida and Tampa and I mean Toronto, whatever you want to say about them, but like Boston,
give them credit.
Yeah.
7.
But it's like, oh man, those teams are going to beat each other up and then just lose to that Met team. Because I would argue that kind of happened to Dallas last year, where I was like, oh man, the gauntlet they went through, and then you just kind of catch an Edmonton team when they're too tired. But that kind of hasn't really happened here, where it's like somehow the Atlantic team has enough gas to get past that final Met team. Do you agree?
Yeah, I also think part of it with what we're seeing right now too is like Carolina has not seen a team close to what Florida is. Granted, Washington had a great regular season. They were heavy, physical, somewhat. I think you can say they were somewhat speedy. Not like they're the fastest team in the league, but they played a pretty good pace. But again, like Carolina just kind of smothered them. And if we really went back to the beginning of the season, would anyone have thought Washington would be as good as they were? Like,
bro, I picked them to like miss the playoffs.
I think I did too. I did too. But you got to give them credit for the year they had. And then on the flip side, like the opponents that Florida went against gave them a really tough battle. Like Carolina played a depleted Devils team. Like that didn't necessarily weren't able to hang around with them. And then obviously, the Caps didn't really have an answer. So I think just what's the word I'm looking for here? The switch maybe had to flip a little bit, I guess, for Carolina, where Florida probably already had that dialed. And I'm not trying to make excuses for Carolina. They're a good team, but Florida has just brought it to them. And I think there is a little bit of an intimidation factor too, right? Carolina, whether it's the moment or the opponent, you can point to both. They knew, that they had struggles in the conference finals in many years past, and they've known they struggled against the opponent they're playing against. And, going against the Florida Panthers is intimidating. Anyone can admit that. So take it as you will.
Dude, it's been one of the more interesting things watching these two games because, as we've said, Carolina, every year people want to say Carolina's different, and I feel like I feel like all three of us were like this.
I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like everyone says they're the same every year.
Yeah, except for me. I'm like, this year they're different.
Sorry, when I say everyone, I mean Carolina fans. Like Carolina fans every season are like, we're different. And yes, the world is like, no, you're not. You are the same.
Yeah.
And this year was the first time where I was like, they might be different because I thought this Washington team was strong and they got punked by Carolina. So now to see this, I'm watching this series and I'm like, would Washington have lost to Florida in one? Like, would they have lost one game and been like, we give up? Like,
yeah.
Because this is crazy. I mean, I picked Florida to win this series, and I am just a little shocked that it is so. Every advantage that we feel like we saw from Carolina through the first two series is completely gone. Anything that they did well, that they got on other teams about, that they got in other teams' heads about, is completely gone. Well, and I said to you, CP, going into game 2, I was like, is this must win? Oof, I don't know. Like, you could just, if it's close, you could go down to Sunrise and you could squeak out a tough win and you're okay. But now I'm like, listen, when was the last time we saw a series in the conference finals that was this crazy? Like, you got shit kicked 2 games in a row and now you're going on the road where you haven't been the best all year. That's not great.
It was probably the Boston Carolina series in 2019, honestly. I'm pretty sure Boston dominated them. But what I was going to say too, like a talking point we had this morning was, who do you say is a better team, Carolina or Toronto?
Oh,
see, that's a tough one because it's like when we don't have it's a great question. When we don't have the matchup that we're looking at, it's hard to say because, I mean, I think Carolina has the advantage in a few areas. And when Freddie was playing the way Freddie was playing through the first 2 rounds, I was like, they have the goaltending advantage. They have definitely the defensive advantage. And then when they play this way and they suffocate teams and they don't let your offense get going, I would be like, I kind of like Carolina in that. But does Toronto have more talent? Definitely. So,
well, I only ask because Taylor Hall had a really good quote today that I wanted to share.
I saw that.
So Taylor Hall said, I mean, they just won 7 games against the Leafs, right? They're not a perfect hockey team, and we know that there are areas to exploit like any team. Carolina just hasn't figured that out yet. Like the first 2 games of Toronto, Florida, we were sitting here probably saying the opposite things, right? Like, oh my God, like these Panthers look like a shell of themselves. What's going on? Like Florida figured them out, and then boom, switch flipped, and teams figure it out. And I think, having this little transition going from Carolina to Florida, it does change the temperature of a series a little bit when you shift arenas. And I used to believe, I don't anymore, just after, being closer to the game where momentum goes from game to game. I don't believe that actually is true. So I do think game 3, or at least I can anticipate that we will see a completely different Carolina team in game 3. And I don't know what the reason will be, but you have to think Rod Brind'Amour and their team will find some answers, or at least one area to change things in their own positive direction.
But CP, do you think that if there is a team that isn't going to have an advantage like this and let the other team kind of figure them out, it's this Florida team?
Yeah. They stay on the gas. First of all, what a I hadn't heard that Halsey quote. What a ricochet at the Leafs.
It's such a ricochet. I saw it last night and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, calm down.
They went 7 against the fucking Leafs. Like, oh, dude. But
pretty
no,
much what you're saying, yeah.
And dude, Laz, we had brought up. I guess it probably was the live on Wednesday after game 1 of this series, where Maurice's quote after the game was, "I didn't love our game tonight," because he was like, "New series, new temperature change. Like we got a system change." I think he said. So it is crazy that it's not crazy. That's a huge part of playoffs in the NHL, where it's like feel out the new team, get a vibe for it. But I do think Florida has shown over the last 3 years, once they feel out the way they need to play against their new opponent, they are very hard to make adjustments against to try to take that momentum back. The only series they've lost in 3 years is when Matthew Tkachuk had his sternum broken and they couldn't move, and that Vegas team was good. I'm not taking anything from them, but just this Florida team has been hard to figure out and adjust and bob and weave against for 3 years running now.
Yeah. And I think honestly, Florida has them. Listen, I'm not going to count the Hurricanes out, but like I did say after like the second goal last night, this series is done just because the D-zone turnovers, the lack of creating offense, honestly, just becoming a little bit unraveled. Like these guys look rattled right now in Carolina. They look frustrated and they look like they don't have an answer. Yeah. And that's the hard part. It's like Toronto, at least you can point to Nylander and I know everyone's going to make fun, but like you can at least hope that someone will make a big play. And in Carolina, I know the game breaker conversation is what everyone talks about. But even if, let's say they had Rantanen still, I don't think the outcome of this series is different. I don't, because they don't have an answer as a team.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to see, dude. We've said so many times in the preview, even we were like, Barkov has been going up against Kucherov and Matthews and Willie, and he must be thrilled to get to Carolina, and no insult against those guys. There's good players on that team, but he must be like, oh, sick. I've been going up against like guys who are like best in the league conversation, and now I can smother this team.
Man, someone said yesterday, did Rod Brind'Amour really think it was a good idea to put 36, 37-year-old Jordan Staal against Alexander Barkov? And that's not to ricochet shot Staal, but it is, when you look at the path he just went through, you think Barkov's like, oh shit, I got Staal now. This is going to be tough. It's like, no, he's one of the best players in the world, and it's just not a good matchup. And,
who are you going to put? Jack Ross?
That's my point. No,
your like, boy.
you don't put anyone. Like you pray to God. That's what you do. You put your hands together and you pray. That's what you do. And I'm with you, Laz. A second goal went in, and I was like, "We're done here." Like, I don't want to count Carolina out because I love this team, and it's been super fun. But it's just this isn't the team. This isn't the team you come back down 2-0 against. I'm sorry. How many times have we said the Panthers smell blood in the water, and it's fucking over. And there is a pool of blood in the water currently. So I don't know what to say here. It's like you're going down to Sunrise. I think Carolina will get one, maybe two. Maybe they can figure out and get two. But this I don't see this continuing at all.
I just think they need the first goal.
Oh my God, dude!
I don't even think that matters. You're right for their confidence, but that you know that would not phase Florida. Certainly not at home.
But Carolina's not a team that is good when they're chasing the game. They're good when they're a team that's holding a lead. So if they can get out and score a first goal, it's going to change the entire direction of the game. Like how early when did Florida score in game one again? Game one feels already so distant.
I know. I'll pull it up right here. Hold on.
I know. I think it was the first period.
Who scored the first goal? Was it Ekblad?
It was
Verhaeghe on the power play.
It was the first play. Verhaeghe's backhander on the power play,
early,
and then
right?
Ekblad from Erod behind the net. 2-0.
Yeah. So both games you're chasing from the start. Like
in the first
10 minutes, right? So, that's got to be a big focus for them. Get out of the first 10 minutes in game 3 and maybe try to find a way to score the first goal before the first intermission. Like that's got to be the big thing. I think they've been playing a little bit too defensive and not taking risks offensively. Yeah. And it's hurting them. I think they need to kind of cheat the game a little bit offensively. That's not a thing that Carolina does, but if they can get that first one and then kind of, play that little stay above the puck, high F3, chip the puck out. What do they call it? The high flip now everyone's calling it.
Yeah.
Just kind of throw it into the neutral zone and then chase it. Like that's what they need.
Which was invented in like Mighty Ducks 2 on the playground of LA.
Really?
Like, little alley-oop play, dude. They flipped the puck up in the air. So I think finally people are coming around to the Mighty Ducks philosophy, but that is what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Laz, do you think, or go ahead, Dan?
No. Take it away.
I was going to say, Laz, before I had wrote some stuff down that I'll have to offline with you, but to circle back to the original topic here.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering if that pendulum's going to swing back, like who in the Met is gonna win the Eastern Conference Finals soon. And because I like right now, I just don't know how anybody can be like Carolina's on the cusp. And the Rangers have a lot of questions. So does anybody who breaks this streak? Does anybody scare you in the Met moving forward, or is this just going to continue to be Atlantic dominant?
Listen, I hate saying this, but I would probably say it would be the Devils.
Correct.
Things didn't really go their way this year, last year, injury wise, but they've done the right things. They brought in good pieces. They've added goaltending. Obviously, Jack getting hurt sucks for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes a world of a difference. But I'm sure they'll make moves again this summer and try to continue to build what they've got going on there. Just injuries. I mean, you're missing like 3D in round one. Like, what can you really do?
Dude, Quinn Hughes has packed his bags already. He's going to be in Jersey by July.
I'd say they're the closest. If I'm just speaking honestly, I don't want that to happen. But
is there anything to a division name change? Because I hear Atlantic, Central, Pacific. That all makes sense to me. Metropolitan is just out of nowhere. And I looked up the definition last, and it says one who lives in a metropolis or displays metropolitan manners or customs. Columbus, the Columbus Blue Jackets. That doesn't sound like a metropolis to me. I'm
trying to think what it was, but what was the division?
Such a fucking ricochet shot at Columbus, CP. Jesus Christ, buddy. Take it easy.
I think we need a name change, Laz. I think that could actually switch up the whole mojo of the division.
I'm looking up I can't remember a time. What was the division called before it became the Metropolitan?
Yeah,
division?
find out.
It was the Atlantic Division.
And it was Eastern, right?
I think
that might be right, dude.
Can we find? I'm looking up 2006 NHL divisions.
Because I was going to say I would even hear the Metro becomes the Central and Central becomes Mountain. So it's kind of like our time zones, whatever. Like on the West, it's like Pacific and Mountain Division, and then in the East, it's Atlantic and Central.
There were 6 divisions. It was Northwest, Central, Pacific in the West, and then Atlantic, Southeast, and Northeast.
Yeah. Okay. And then, dude, here's my rogue pitches. Keep Atlantic, keep Pacific. I like that because it's hard to call the Mountain Division. It's hard to call the Central Division Mountain when they have the Predators. That's crazy. Yeah. So my vote is to change the Central Division to the Lake Division because look at those cities. All those fucking people go to lakes. Everyone in that division has lakes, dude. They're not near water. They all swim at lakes. That is now the Lake Division. And then I'm now changing the Metro Division to the Train Division because all of these cities, people take the train. No one takes the train in Boston. No one takes the train in LA. All you fucking New York and Philly and Pitt people take the train everywhere. Metro Division is now the Train Division. Central Division is now the Lake Division.
This is what you guys are learning about doing the live shows. You can't cut that out. People are going to hear that and know how stupid it is.
No, it's right. It's right. You're all trained people, dude. Call it Train Division and you'll win an Eastern Conference final.
I love these moments. I love when Johnny gets on the show and gets to see CP go, I have a really funny idea, and then says something so dumb, and we all just have to sit here and be like, yeah, good idea.
I say a lot of stupid shit, but that one was pretty dumb.
It stirs the pot in the chat, and they come up with better ideas. That's what I'm really just inspiring people. That's my role.
Bosses too. You've had a lot of bad ideas that have led to good ideas, and for that, they're valuable.
Yes,
this is the process. Like it's just this is how you weed stuff out. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Pacific, Lake, Train, Atlantic.
Can I go? Can I go now?
Yeah, Johnny.
I said 12:15. I saved the extra 5 minutes for the Lake Division. I love you guys.
Dude. All right, see you, Laz. Have a good day.
Have a good Memorial Day. All right.
Later, Laz. Oh man, well, I'm bummed that we lost Laz with Lake Division CP, but
I think he was more mad. The Lake one is more accurate than Train. Train is a reach because it's like I don't think they really ride the train in Carolina, but Lake, dude, look at those teams. Look at those teams in the Central. They all have lakes.
Hey, pal, you're not going to hear me argue. Let's get back into this game and into this series. I want to talk about Freddie Iceberg, dude. Your boy,
my boy,
is looking like a wilting head of lettuce that's been left out in the sun in a humid climate. Just brown, soggy, and awful. Goal on the first shot of the game. How are you feeling?
I feel terrible for him. I feel a fool. I feel like the greatest fool, Dan, because it's like
you're getting called Amtrak CP in the chat, by the way.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Amtrak. I'm going to become a Metro guy as soon as they become the. Dude, that's actually a sick name for a division, the Amtrak division. That's my new answer. Instead of train division, which did sound kind of dumb, I'm now in for Amtrak division. I feel a fool, Dan, because the fear was always this was going to happen. But if I may, just like I didn't think it was totally on Freddie in game one, I don't know that these goals. It's 4 goals on 16 shots. It's a disaster. But I dare I say they weren't that bad again. Even Rod in his presser, dude, they asked him like, was that just giving Freddie some time for the poll? I mean, and he goes, "Oh yeah, none of those were on him. We weren't winning with anybody in net tonight. We were awful," which was all correct, I thought. So,
yeah, and also like the first time we've ever heard Rod say something negative after a loss in an Eastern Conference final game.
Agree. So I'm like, I don't know, dude. It sucks, dude. Like he's been playing so good and you want your goalie to steal shit and he's not stealing anything right now, but he hasn't been that bad. He hasn't been as bad as it looks, I guess, put it that way.
Yeah. It's one of those tough things. I totally feel you when we talk about a goalie who has maybe had struggles and you worry about them and then they get into a game and you're like, oh, those were all good goals though. At some point, if you get called the horse once, you punch a man in the mouth. You get called the horse a second time, you call him a jerk. If you get called the horse a third time, you should probably go looking for a saddle.
Yeah.
And it is the third Rod Brind'Amour Eastern Conference final with this team, 10 straight losses. And like Frederik Andersen it has been so good, but he has been the problem for this great team the last couple of years. And here we are playing a really good team. It's like the first shot goes in and yeah, it was a good shot. It's my boy Goose.
Oh, dude.
But it just does feel a bit like, fuck me. It's all of your nightmares coming true. You said it. Game one was a nightmare. And now game two is a nightmare. We said Carter Verhaeghe can't get going. Sam Bennett, guys like that can't get going. Matthew Tkachuk can't get going. Verhaeghe, 3 assists in that game. Sam Bennett, 2 goals. Matthew Tkachuk, immediate goal. And you're just like, holy
that line
shit.
had 8 points down. That's a fucking
like
joke.
You are in trouble, dude. You're in big trouble.
On Rod, Dan, on our supreme leader, you said it.
Dear leader.
Dude, dear leader was so good. I forget who said that.
Dude, it's real.
No,
so someone sent me a screenshot. Like it's real. It's I don't know if it's supposed to be the endearing version for the people to make sure that they don't think they're being gaslit and have Stockholm syndrome, but they do call him dear leader.
Okay, on our dear leader, he in the post game, the first question he got asked was, Rod, that one started bad and got worse. What do you think, or something like that? And he basically goes, there's nothing I can add other than what you just said. It was a very tough night. I don't even know what I was watching in the first period. And I laughed to myself because and you just said this, I was like, this is progress. This is actually progress. Rod watched a Carolina Hurricanes hockey game where they got ragdolled and was like this, we sucked and we lost. And I was like, dude, good. He saw the hypnotist. Something happened. But then, man, all kidding aside, he looked so sad. I don't know if you got to see it or if you just read the quotes. He is a shell of a human.
Oh my God.
A withered up husk that was once a jacked man who coached a hockey team and lifted a cup one time.
He looks pale and pasty. It's a disaster.
It was awful, dude. And it made me, we were talking about after the Jets series, how it's hard to even watch as a neutral sometimes because I get just so sad for the people that lost. This was the first time I was just sitting there watching Rod feeling terrible for him to the point that I need them to win one game this series just so he can do it, just so it can happen.
But do you wonder, I mean, I feel like I can't get into the nitty gritty of that yet, but do you wonder if winning one meaningless game in this series prevents Carolina from making some possibly necessary changes?
I don't think so. Good question. Really good question. I think if they lose in 5, whatever was going to happen, and I don't know what's going to happen, but whatever was still happens, I think, in 5. If they claw back and it's 6, then maybe you're right. But if they get gentlemen swept, nothing changes in terms of front office is decision making.
What frustrates me about, so let's go to Toronto, Ottawa for a second. Toronto goes up 3-0, Ottawa wins 2 straight, and then Toronto wins in 6. And people are like, fucking A, great shit. Like, Ottawa, way to battle. And in that circumstance, a team that's made the playoffs for the first time in several years, they were a wild card team battling back there. I'm like, that was good. Good on you. Mm-hmm. In this circumstance, if Carolina loses in 6, like let's say they do win 2, and then Florida just is like, yeah, and we take care of business in 6. That is an example where I'm like, you were never in it. And not good on you, Carolina. You were the higher seed. Everything was supposed to be different. If you get pistol whipped in 2 games at home to start the series and it's just over, and then like, yeah, you get 2 fugazi wins, but then you lose in 6, like you don't get any credit for me. You really don't.
I know, I'm with you. I think I said 5, but I hear you. Like, even if it comes all the way back, there's a good chance that they just go, whatever, dude. What changes need to get made? Because it's an expectation thing, Dan. The expectations coming into this were so high, and now it's the same old story right now. Same old story, murdered at home twice, shot dead behind the shed. And that's, you can't have that.
You had mentioned this, of all the nightmare elements, only one other game these playoffs has Carolina been outshot. And yeah, you come into this game and you're like, okay, we got to get on them early. And then Florida's first shot goes in. Then they go up 2-0, 3-0, and everyone's like, Jesus Christ, this is over.
Silent in there, bro.
You finally get one, but you're a mile offside. Maurice challenges it, finally, gets it. That goal goes away. And then you wrote down it was like 10 minutes left in the second period. The Canes had 5 shots, and only one was a forward.
Dude, their whole MO, their entire game plan, and agree with it or disagree with it, whatever you want, but the entire Carolina Hurricanes philosophy on offense is get pucks to the net. We will outshoot you. That's their whole shtick. Yeah. And they've been outshot once. I think it was Jersey game 3. They've been outshot one time through, how many games did they play? 12 playoff games. They've been outshot one time in the playoffs coming into this game. And even last game, where we all felt like they got plugged, but they get to go, well, we outshot them 33-20. Just got to get a few past Bob. Bob's the difference. Bob's the difference. Bob's your uncle. Bob's your father, dude. Bob's not the difference. He's your fucking dad. And to come out and what they shoot, Dan, check the shots on this game. I don't even know how many they had this game, but they got outshot by the Panthers and had 5 shots, dude, in the halfway through the game. And under no circumstances is that going to happen.
They only had 17.
Oh, bro, I will say I didn't like the shoot the puck chants from the crowd. Everybody makes fun of the shoot people, but the coordinated shoot the puck. And I don't know. I don't know why I didn't like it, because maybe they needed to hear it, but I just could not believe the entire rink was chanting "shoot the puck" when I was like, they're trying, dude. I assure you, they're doing the best they can. But that was a smothering, pal.
I mean, it was truly just a beatdown. And as we keep saying, we keep using the word nightmare. It's like, if I'm a Canes fan, what do you have to feel good about right now? I genuinely don't think it's anything. Like, Svech had a really tough game, and I thought Jarvis looked good before he left the game. Obviously, fingers crossed for Jarvis. We're hoping he's okay. We'll get into that in a second. But it's just like your defense that's been so good, they're not doing much. It's just like nothing is really clicking right now.
Dan, it's everything, man. And I feel like a broken record after game 1, but just this one, I said, I'll bring up Dennis again. I was talking to the Dennis on the Raleigh show, and I said to him, game 1, if you're a Canes guy, these are my worst fears, right? You go, they got a couple power play goals. They scored on all their chances, got a lead. They skated with us, all that shit. Dude, this game was significantly worse for Carolina in terms of the up here, Dan, eyes up here, because not only did you lose the shot thing, like you got outshot, you got completely smothered by the Panthers D. You got lit up on the power play again. Kane's penalty kill, Dan, 93% coming into this series. Best in the playoffs, best in the regular season. Could not give up a power play goal if you begged them to. Florida is 4 for 5, dude. Like every power play is an automatic tuck. And your back's against the wall at home. You have to have this game. We said it after game 1. This is curtains if you lose this game. And to come out like that, bro, in the first period, I haven't seen an effort like this in a gotta have it game. I would say, honestly, Dan, that first period is the worst period by any team this entire playoffs, except for the LA Kings game 5 at home.
Yeah.
That was also an absolute trash bag performance.
Just a travesty of a performance, no doubt about it. You know what, man? I think you're right. I think the most glaring issue for me is how rattled they look. I mean, you were getting in a mud fight with the Florida Panthers. Are you fucking insane? It's one of the worst ideas I've ever seen since someone said that we should change the Metropolitan Division to the train division.
Amtrak.
It's just so dumb. And I popped on Twitter last night and I was like, these Canes boys are getting a little chippy. And a bunch of Canes fans got a little riled up and they were like, we're getting chipped. Like, we're getting nasty. And I'm like, that's Florida's game, guys. Like, what are you complaining about? And you're just losing. You are losing that battle 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe that they are so quickly resorting to like cheap shots, shitty stuff, because it's like you're dead. And we're talking to Osh on our episode of the pod yesterday that came out. If you haven't listened to that, listen to it, chat. But Osh was like, dude, I look at a bench and if guys are losing their shit, I'm like, oh, we've won. Yeah. And that's what's happening.
Real quick in the chat too, Luke just said, makes you wonder if the Leafs were all that bad. And I do want to I just wanted to pose this. We had talked about this offline, Dan. The Leafs round against the Cats only is getting so dummied because they're the Leafs. That was a really good, and they had 2 stinkers at home. I'm not trying to ignore that. Game 5 and Game 7 cannot happen. You can lose those games. You just can't play that way. You can't get beat that badly. But the Leafs went 7 against the best team in the league. And if they didn't have the Leafs history, people would have just gone great series. But instead, they're getting absolutely dragged. And this Canes team is getting made fun of for sure. We're doing it right now, but they don't get as much heat as the Leafs get. And I'm like, the Leafs played them tight at least, and that's all you can ask for. Like this, if this continues to go this way, bro, this is unacceptable on every level.
100%. Let's talk about the.
I want to talk about the Canes.
What?
Okay, I want to talk about the Canes disallowed goal real quick, but we can go to injuries.
Well, no, get into it, dude. But fucking speak up, bitch. Get some aggressiveness.
I'm talking into the mic, dude. I've always been I'm a floating mic guy more than a mic stand guy because I can keep it with me. See this? Look at this. I can go out of the box. I still got the mic,
and everyone can hear you.
Yeah, how about that? That I don't think would have even changed it, dude. Like, even if that goal had counted, they seemed so dead. So whatever. And I was actually, even though he was so clearly off, I was actually surprised Maurice did challenge it because he must have been like, who gives a fuck? And I sneaky think, Dan, I think Maurice knew about your May 22nd stat. I think he knew.
Can you believe that?
Tell everybody that. That was crazy, dude.
Unbelievable stat that we saw. Want to share it. Sergei Bobrovsky. Let me get this. May 22nd, 2023, shutout against the Canes in Game 3. May 22nd, 2024, shutout against the Rangers in Game 1. May 22nd, 2025, shutout against the Canes in Game 2. May 22nd is now known as Sergei Bobrovsky Day.
Dude,
0 goals. And I do think Maurice knew it. I think Maurice was like,
got a challenge.
I will not let that goal stand. It was offsides, and Bob gets shutouts on this day, and that's that.
And whoever they play May 22nd next year is fucked. To hell. And I will be hammering that bet. You better believe it. But here's my question on that rule, Dan, because I genuinely don't know. If the offense if the team defending gets the puck out of the zone, and then the team defending brings the puck back into the zone, offside is wiped off. That is a rule. I'm saying that out loud, right?
Okay.
So like if you were in the zone offside, but then the team defending brings it back in by themselves, you're off, or you're not off. That one was challenged because Burns' stick hits the puck and knocks it back in. And then in the while they were debating it on the broadcast, they were saying, but if it hits Tkachuk's stick after, like if Burnsy hits it forward, but then it hits Tkachuk's stick, that's technically Tkachuk bringing it back into the zone. And I was like, that can't be right. Like if it hits you, does that nullify it? And they clearly they overturned it. So I don't know, but they just didn't explain that rule. Do you know the answer to that?
I believe that is the answer, that if it touches a player, it does nullify it because it is the same as a defensive zone player bringing it back in. But it is one of those things where it's like, well, it's almost like when there's a delayed penalty, right? What counts as an actual touch?
Yeah.
So that's where I think it gets hairy because you're like, ooh, I don't know if that was clean or not.
Because, dude, if you got a puck out and then I'm against you and I stopped it and just went to like rim it back in and it grazed your shin pads on the way by, and they're like not offside now. I'm like, what, dude? Like it clipped him. So I don't know, and maybe that's actually a really good description by you on the delayed penalty touch. Like what? I don't think there's something in the rule book on what is a touch, but that was I hadn't really seen that before. And as they started to get into that debate, I was like, oh damn, this could be so interesting because I actually do think it hit Tkachuk's stick after. I think Burnsy hit it and then it nicked Tkachuk's stick, and I was like, fuck. So yeah, we'll see.
I want to kick to the chat real quick. We got a couple of good questions. Number one, someone said, do you think Rod's system can win a championship? I've actually been thinking a lot about this, and my take is this. Yes, I do, but what I feel like I have failed to see from Rod in these 3 Eastern Conference Finals is an ability to adapt. I think a great example is DeBoer in Game 1 against Edmonton 2 nights ago. They changed up a lot going into that third period, and they scored 5 fucking goals. Rod, to me, needs to be more willing to abandon what has worked when it all of a sudden stops working. And I don't think we're seeing a lot of that from this team and from his coaching. And I think he is more than capable of it. He's a phenomenal coach. Talking to friends, we mentioned this on the last show. If you get swept, if you lose in 5, if you fire Rod, do you find someone better? Maybe not. But as I said, but do you need something different? Because it's like, you do have a great coach, but if this is going to happen every single time, what the fuck is the point? Like, I'd rather miss the playoffs and rebuild and try to figure something out than just come here and lose every single time. Yeah. So I think that my answer to that is yes, but he needs to adapt when things aren't going well. That's what championship winning coaches do.
I think he juggled the lines a ton. I give him credit. He juggled the lines a ton. And before the Bennett goal, the second Bennett goal, did that make it 4-0? I think it did. Before that goal, with like 30 seconds left in the period, they actually they were showing some life. I'm not saying they were going to win the game, but the Canes were bopping around there for a good 5-6 minutes with the lines juggled. So he's doing stuff. You said it, Dan, though, the other day. I can't remember if we were recording or not, but eventually it's a roster issue, though, right? Like I don't give a fuck. Like I think. If you put it this way, I think if you switch the coaches right now, the Panthers are up 2-0.
I think that's correct. And that's not a knock to the Carolina player. Like, this Panthers team's insane.
They're nasty, dude. They're defending champs. So I think, Christ, honestly, Dan, if you switch the fucking goalies, like there's a chance, right? Like, and I just defended Freddie, but I think Rod can win a Stanley Cup. I'll put it that way. I put it plain and simple. I think Rod Brind'Amour can win a Stanley Cup. Absolutely.
The roster comparison is a great transition into another great chat question. Someone in the chat asked, who's more important to this team, Bennett or Ekblad? And I loved that question because I did not have a quick answer. And it's interesting because you look at it and you say Ekblad is arguably your 1. Like that's your 1A defenseman. Mm-hmm. And Bennett is a Swiss Army knife. He can play anywhere in the top 9. And I think I don't know how to answer it because of how incredibly structured this Panthers roster is. Like, everyone is equally so important, as well as if someone goes down, they all just pulled the rope in the same direction and they're fine. It's like we saw round one, Ekblad was gone for numerous games and they won those games. Like, they were fine. And it's tough to answer.
Yeah, it is. Dude, I'll say it though. For me, man, Sam Bennett is a revelation. I waxed poetic about him already, saying I was in awe of him, posted a clip of it, and everybody yelled at me because they were like, he's a fucking goon. I was like, all right, the entire point of this speech was that he's so much more than that.
Yeah.
Bo, he has 9 goals in the playoffs. He's tied with Mikko Rantanen. Everybody and the mother is jerking off Mikko Rantanen, trying to give him Conn Smythe already. Sam Bennett is tied for the lead in goals. If this was the cup, Sam Bennett would win Conn Smythe. He's leading the playoffs in goals. And
maybe Bob.
But it's like, dude, what they're getting out of him on every level, production and antics and all this shit, those are the players that win you Stanley Cups, dude. When they can do that shit, when they can do everything for you, that's when you win a Stanley Cup. He's been incredible.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, my answer is Bennett. And it's because of that. It's like, he's a unicorn. And yeah, we don't need to stroke him off more than we've done all season. But yeah, we keep saying if Florida doesn't quickly sign him, I would say 31 other teams in the league are going to be desperate to scoop him up because he is just so fucking good. He's so goddamn valuable. It's insane. Let's get into the couple of injuries. Let's start with Jarvis.
Yep.
Take me away.
So, man, it's another tough one because obviously I love Seth like a son, and he, it's a little admiring the past, right? Like a little bit, and we've seen way worse ones. We've had this exact debate a few times, Dan. I can't remember who else it happened to recently. Like, there was the Tanner Jeannot hit from earlier in the year, and then this happened recently. Oh, it was was it on Vancouver? Someone on Vancouver, JT Miller maybe was involved. I can't remember, but this is one of those passes where you pass backwards on a regroup, and then you're looking back at that pass, and then someone comes. And Mikkola is, I don't even think that would have been called late in the regular season. Certainly not in a playoff game. It's a tad late. For people that listen to us a lot, you've heard me make this take a lot. What is a late hit is so different when you're forechecking and you're just against the boards and like you're a defender, you get the puck, you chip it away, and then the guy comes like a full Mississippi later. In the middle of the ice, it looks way worse. So as soon as it happened, I was like, oh fuck. And I wanted to get mad, but it wasn't that late. And Jarvis looking at the pass, and he's just got to like be aware where Mikkola is there. He came back like the next shift and literally like fell down twice. They were just trying to pass in the puck, and there was one play in the middle of the ice in his zone, and then there's one play behind the net where he's just like losing his balance. And the broadcast was that who had that last night? TNT, whatever. The broadcast was all over it. They were like, Jarvis not right. Something's bad. And then immediately whistle. Jarvis like starts waving to the bench and goes straight to the tunnel. Yeah. I fear it's a concussion, and that is not that the Hurricanes are showing me anything to fucking show life in this series, but that is big trouble. Like, if Jarvis misses game 3 and 4 and you're like, dude, that's like my top line guy, that's my top penalty killer, that's my top power play guy, he's not they can win without it. Any team can win without anybody, but that down 2-0 losing Jarvis is not it.
Yeah, no, Jarvis no doubt is a guy that you simply cannot lose. So like you said, fingers crossed that he's okay. And you're right, the late hit thing is so tough. I do think late hit open ice is way shorter of a window for me than up against the glass or anything like that. So,
and I will say clean. It wasn't dirty at all.
It was a clean hit. That something that Canes fans might not want to hear. A lot of people were screaming about it, saying it was dirty. It's not. It's a clean hit, maybe a little late, but it is what it is. I will say, I don't think there's a big difference between a dirty hit and a sketchy hit. I don't think Aho's hit on Sam Reinhart was dirty, because I think dirty is you were going in with poor intent. Mm-hmm. I think Sebastian Aho lined up a hip check on Sam Reinhart. The pass got away. A little too much time went by. And ultimately, I think Aho lost his angle and he hit Reinhart way too low. I thought it wasn't a dirty hit, but it was not a good hit. And that's scary for Florida, man. Like a hit down low by the knee, the hip, it's like that is scary shit. And if Sam Reinhart is not playing game 3, I think what we've talked about with the Panthers and how cool, calm, relaxed they've been, Panthers fans just with their feet kicked up every second of every game, you are now a little bit like, oh, fuck. I am not sure you can beat a Dallas or an Edmonton without Sam Reinhart.
Okay, that's where I was headed to, Dan, because I think if he's knocked at all, you sit him, right? Like if he's like, hey, this is tweaked still, you're up 2-0. I go, we are so fine. I can't remember what the score was when that happened, but you held on comfortably, you outplayed them comfortably. You protect him this series because you feel fine, but you 1,000,000,000% need him in the Stanley Cup final. So that could be bad if he's actually out. That could be bad. I didn't think it looked, and I'm not talking about the dirty sketchiness of the hit. I'm talking about strictly Sam Reinhart right now. I didn't think it looked as horrible as the broadcast even did. Everybody on the broadcast was like, oh God, like that could be it. And I don't want to reverse jinx him here, but I was kind of like, oh, that just looked like one where you were like, ow, fuck, God damn it. And then they go, dude, sit down. We're ragdolling this team. I'm hoping because sometimes you see him and you're like, that dude's knee is fucked. You know what I'm saying? Or like,
yeah,
it didn't look like it was floating enough. Sometimes their feet get caught in. His leg looked floating enough in midair that I was like, I think he's all right.
I think he's all right too. He's also a tough motherfucker.
Yeah.
Also, this is the first time in our lives I'm getting feisty with the chat here. Dude, I am a little sick of this Sebastian Aho is dirty chat going on right now. And also, Florida Panthers fans, I fucking love you so much, but you are not allowed to have your cake and eat it too. Like, Florida Panthers fans are not allowed to cry about anyone being dirty. Like, this is your identity. It's the identity of the Panthers is being rats, being in the mix, doing nasty shit. So, like, don't cry. You can call it a penalty, and I think that should have been a penalty. I did not like that hit at all. I tweeted it from my personal. I was like, I don't like that hit at all. But we don't need to call anything dirty. Like, people are bringing up the knee-on-knee hit against the fucking Ranger, against Falk. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, there are players who have 1 or 2 hits in their career that are bad. It doesn't make them a dirty player. A dirty player is someone who almost every game they're doing sketchy shit. A few instances when you play 82 games a year for many years, shut the fuck up, guys. Like, we need more evidence to start saying people are dirty just because they have a couple of hits. Do you know how fast this game is? Like, calm down, everybody. And I'm not defending Aho. That was a penalty, in my opinion. But we need to just relax. Now, let's hope Reinhart is okay, because I think he is okay. Like I said, he's tough as shit. The thing with me, dude, and I'll move on from this hit, I am a fucking plug who does a podcast and doesn't play hockey anymore for a reason. But I will say this, I was fucking dope at hip checks, and you will attest to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Hip checks are a lost art, and I was fucking nasty at them, and I would tag people. There are a few guys in the NHL right now who have taken hip checks from me, and they would say, I am good at it. But you can see the way Reinhart gets hit, the way his legs fling out. That's not a clean hip check. It's like that is the evidence. Oh, that's what you need. If your legs fling out like that, you've been hit below the hips. You're hit towards the knee. That's what makes it not clean. And again, I'm not saying dirty specifically because I don't think Aho went in going, I'm going to clip him here. I think he lined it up, and then Reinhart made a good play. He made the pass, and he started to move, and Aho's line got off, but he was already committed, and he hit him too low, and it should have been a penalty. But a hip check, a clean hip check, sends you fucking, like, your body jolts back, not your legs flinging out. So that's why I don't think it was a good hit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on the he's not trying to hurt the guy. It's a fast game. He's not trying to hurt the guy. I actually maybe even I wasn't as much of a hip checker as you, I guess. But maybe I wasn't even as feisty about the hit. Like I was kind of like, because dude, if you are going to hip check somebody, he's got to bend over and get low, and that's just kind of where his hips came across. He was too he wasn't over far enough. Like he should have been more in front of Rhino for me. It wasn't even like the depth of his hips, because he's like, again, I have to bend over to get my hip out there. He just needed to be more in front of him, and it wouldn't have mattered. He just didn't get there in time because like Rhino was like slipping away from him. So yeah, no intent there for me. I really hope Reinhart's okay. And again, I'm getting cocky here, but I think he's fine. Like I was like, yeah, that was precautionary. He might even miss game 3 and I'll still think he's fine. I just don't think it's like an actual issue.
I do too. I think that was a smart move by, I'm sure that didn't feel great. And I think it was a smart move by Maurice and the Florida Panthers staff, and probably Rhino himself being like, what was that 4-0 at that point? 3-0?
Yeah, at least 3.
Like, I think they were like, get out of here. Like, this game's over. This game's getting a little chippy. You are one of our star players. We don't need you getting hurt if you're not feeling great. So I agree. Fingers crossed on him. I think he's going to be fine. We keep saying we're not dead here. We're not going to say the series is over, because anything can happen. But if the Panthers were to move on, let's get into some interesting things here about a possible three-peat.
Oh yes, cool. And actually, I want to say the chat. A lot of talk on the Greer Sean Walker hit, who did come back, and I think finished the game. Chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was a good hit to me. That was shoulder to shoulder. I just wanted to bring it up because everyone was asking about it. But that's shoulder to shoulder, and Walker came back, and I'm like, okay, good. And
that was not only was that fine to me, CP. That was a 10 out of 10 hit.
It was a great hit.
It's a beautiful hockey hit.
Yep. So Dan, teams that have made the cup 3 years in a row, all right, made a cup. The Habs have some fucking crazy records. The Habs made it 10 seasons in a row, once from 1950 to 1960, which is fucking lol funny. The Islanders made it 5 seasons in a row once, because that was the Bossy era, and he just was like, I'll just go to every cup, and then when I get too bored of scoring 50 fucking goals, I'll retire and we'll never make a cup again.
Incredible.
Habs made it 4 seasons in a row once, and then 3 times in a row. That has happened 10 times. But none of these have happened in a long time. Like the Oilers did it 82 to 85, and that's the most recent one until Tampa. Okay. And then Tampa just did it, obviously. My question to you is, if, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if Florida makes it again, and if they were to win, where do you have them in the Tampa, this like mini Florida dynasty, mini Tampa dynasty? Because I feel like we were like, Tampa had an epic run here, and Florida's like these little, the little pipsqueak little brothers, and that's like the narrative in the Battle of Florida. But I'm like, dude, if Florida wins the cup this year, and they also have 2 cups, a back-to-back and a 3 straight appearance, and you're the only 2 teams that have done that in the last 30 years. And Tampa, I hate doing this, but Tampa has that like bubble one against Montreal where I'm like,
no, buddy.
I'm like,
you can call it recency bias or whatever. I don't even think it's close. I think this Florida team is better.
God, dude, that's crazy.
And it's tough to say, because that Tampa team is amazing, but it was almost like, not the end, but it was like Stammer and Hedman, like as they were like 30 years old. It was like they finally got it done. I look at this Florida team. I look at how young Barkov, Tkachuk, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Rhino, Forsling, like how young all those guys are. I look at who they're beating. Like you're beating Connor McDavid. I do think it's a little bit better. That Tampa team's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but the bubble year definitely is something. Like you beat the fucking Habs. Like what were the Habs doing in that Stanley Cup final? Like that's who you had to play in the Stanley Cup.
Dude, this has been such a Ricochet episode. Like
it is, but 10 I think even Habs fans would admit, like, what on earth was that team doing in the Stanley Cup? And it's because of the stupid bubble structure. So yeah, I do think I would give this Florida team a bit of an edge, and I'm sure the chat right now is buzzing, talking shit about Tampa, because we got a lot of Cats fans in here.
But so Dan, you would say, and chat, like, and again, you're right, a lot of Panthers fans, but when we are all said and done here, you're saying like if Florida wins this year and you go, what's the best team of the 2020s? It's now the Panthers over Tampa if they do this.
Yeah, I think so. It's a matter of who they beat and the structure of their team.
Dallas,
I mean,
yeah.
it's you also see. I mean, dude, if this Florida team beats Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl twice back to back, in what world are we not saying that they are?
Bro, if they beat this Dallas team, I think this Dallas team is nasty. Obviously, Tampa beat Dallas too, but different team. You know, I think wasn't who was playing goal then for Dallas? Like I swear it was like Hudobin was in net for that.
Like Ben Bishop
for that Dallas team. And now you got Otter. Yeah, so it's like that's fucking crazy that Florida could take by 20. Dude, if you told me in 2022 when Tampa had been to 3 straight cups and say 3 years from now there'll be a different team that's the team of the 2020s, that is fucking bonkers that they've pulled this off. Absolutely outrageous. And in terms of winning, Dan, there's only 10 times teams have gone back to back, and in our lifetime it's really just the Penguins, Wings, Penguins, Lightning. It's a hard thing. They got a long way to go. We were just talking to Edge before we started, like kind of crazy that we're even discussing like Panthers winning cups mean what's for legacy. And I'm like, they have fucking so much shit to do before they're going to lift this cup. But man, I give them a ton of credit for how close they feel right now compared to the way I was talking about them before the playoffs started, thinking they didn't have the gas left.
Yeah. Speaking of gas, do you think it's surprising that Bob is a 9-10 save percentage right now in the playoffs? Do you think that's surprisingly low based on how he has felt?
There was a couple games in Tampa. I guess there was just the one, but he got lit up in one game in Tampa. And then I think one game in Toronto too early. And it's just
I think it was games 1 and 2 against Toronto. Were just like, it was just a bad for them.
And those just hurt the save percentage so badly.
Yeah.
And I look at it at, I said after game 1, Dan, he was a 9-4-8 since game 1, or excuse me, since game 4 of the Toronto series. Surely that's up to 9-5-8, something like that now. And it's that shit, dude. It's like the once I decide type of shit. And then he's been so dialed. So it feels low, but if you just kind of look at it in a smaller sample size, that's when it gets fucking amazing. Yeah. What'd you think about and I'm so biased, I admit, and to all the Canes fans, I'm in the chat, I'm sorry. What'd you think about one of those late scrums when Marshy just fucking cross-checked Ghost in the back?
I love it. Like, I would say the same thing if Ghost cross-checked Marshy in the back. Like, I love it. This is the shit we talk about. We talked about it with Osh yesterday. It's like, you have to hate your opponent. You have to be a motherfucker. And Brad Marchand's the best motherfucker in the world. So, I mean, that did he get a penalty for that?
I think so. But it was weird. There was a lot of shit going on. There was a delayed penalty already up for like Greersy or something. I can't remember what's going on, but it was like behind the play, fucking Marshy right in the L5, dude, right in the L5 lumbar.
I absolutely love it. And it's one of those things like, I know that there's a lot of fucking snowflakes on Twitter who are like, what if that hurt him? And I'm like, shut up, dude. We're playing playoff hockey. And if it did hurt him, that would be a bummer. That would suck. But this is playoff hockey. There's no one in that Canes locker room who after that play is going in that locker room being like, Brad Marchand is dangerous. That was not okay. Like they're going, he's a motherfucker. And I wish he was on our team. And that's why I love it.
And it's funny because I was just kind of bitching about, you don't want this shit like Ghost, and I stand by it, but Ghost shooting the puck. It's like, dude, you can't be doing that. It's like, and now they're in your head. And then, but when Marshy does that, I'm like, I don't know. It's just because it's him and he got the puck shot at him that I was like, of course, you're going to shoot a puck at me. Game 1, dude, you're going to catch a cross check in the spine. Game 2. That's the way this works.
What did I say to you after that game 1? I was like, if you don't think Marchand is doing something to Gostisbehere, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah. Dan, the Canes, can you believe they came out in the black jerseys again? After game 1?
That was a shocking decision.
Dude.
Gotta switch it up.
I was like, what are we doing here? And I should have gone back to see what their record is in the black jerseys in the playoffs. But any Canes fans in the chat, tell me if that's a good luck charm or something. But holy shit, dude, I was like, I was expecting, no joke, Dan, I was expecting a Mighty Ducks, second Mighty Ducks reference today, a Mighty Ducks 2 change the jerseys at intermission situation where they have an aged mentor, an aged mentor type character come into the locker room, which I guess you'd think should have been Rod, because he's like your aged captain who once won you a cup, but Rod's in too good a shape to be a Hans. So maybe like a Ron Francis. I know he works for the Kraken now, but maybe he's got some gray. He could have come in. And
I think technically, CP, that's illegal in like per NHL rules.
Yeah, but
but wouldn't that be fantastic if they did that?
Dan, what about this? You're gonna hate this, dude. You're gonna fucking hate this. What if Gordie Howe walks into the locker room? He technically played 1 year for the Hartford Whalers. If Gordie Howe walks into the locker room and he goes, "I was thinking something like this," and opened his trench coat, and there's the Hartford Whalers jersey on, and they come out for the third in the Whalers jersey, and then run through the Cats. Dan, what if they came out in a Whalers jersey for the third?
Nope. You know my take on this. Stolen valor. Dude. That's not your team. Go fuck yourself, Carolina. Dude, You're not allowed to wear the Whalers uniforms. Don't come at me. Don't come at me with it's the same franchise bullshit. It's a different fucking team. Stop it. You know what? That's why this is happening. That's this karma. It's that this Carolina Hurricanes team keeps stealing the Hartford Whalers jerseys because they know they're cooler and they're cursed in the Eastern Conference Final. That's what's happening.
Dude, okay.
You put this cursed upon yourself.
So what do they have to do? They just never wear it again. How do you break the curse?
They need to take every bit, first of all, every piece of money that team has made from selling the Whalers style merchandise. You now need to donate to a Hartford, Connecticut charity,
to a whaling institute. Dude, no, we should bring back whale hunting. Pay a whaling boat to actually that's what it is, Dan. They need to hunt down a whale. Unfortunately, they do need to hunt down a white whale and kill it, and then present it.
This is just more bad karma. You're out of your mind, dude. They need to get all of their Canes jerseys, and they need to find every person alive today who once played for the Hartford Whalers, and they need to take those Whalers style jerseys and give them to those guys.
And then they'll win. And dude, they could actually do that tonight. They could this is solvable. You can't kill a whale overnight, but they could do this overnight.
I'm telling you, it's the Whalers curse. That's what's going on in the Eastern Conference Final. It's you have stolen the beauty and charm of a former team, and you're taking credit for it. You're taking advantage of it. They all need to get one of those jerseys, find a former Whalers player, give it to them, and then the curse will be broken.
Yeah. Okay. And then Gordie Howe doesn't have to fly to Raleigh. And
we also don't have to kill whales, you sick son of a bitch.
I'm just trying to help, Dan. I'm just trying to help Canes fans.
Your ideas are off the rails today.
Well, I got one more for you, and this one I actually think you're going to like.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
If you know how in soccer, due to like tampering with rosters or whatever, and other things
in football,
you're such a bitch, dude. You're a bitch.
I said that because I knew it would piss off producer Edge.
You're a bitch, dude. In football, in soccer, teams can go, you have been given a 3-year Champions League ban. So you still play the regular season. And if you would have qualified for the Champions League, they go, congratulations, great regular season, but you're not allowed in the Champions League, and a team below, the next team down, gets to go in. And I hate to say this, I hate to do it, but if the Canes get swept in this round again, I actually think I need to institute a 3-year playoff ban for them. And they still get to play the regular season and have their fun and sell tickets, and everyone can go to games because it's a great time. But if they finish top 3 in the Met, they go, great job, but you actually have a playoff ban. So then the 4th team in the Met is in because you are fucking out.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I do. Me too. I'm sorry. I hate to do it, but I legitimately think maybe 3's harsh, but like I legitimately think they need a 1 to 2 year playoff ban.
3 straight sweeps.
If you
3
get
straight sweeps,
because I'm not doing this again, Dan. I'm not going to sit here and watch you go to the playoffs and be like the Canes. Oh my God, and then get swept again.
Yeah. So what's the point? What's the point of any of us watching if we just know what's going to happen?
And it's actually hindering like the 3rd round of the playoffs for viewership, for everything. Literally 2-year playoff ban. if you get swept from the playoffs this year.
Yeah, you need to get pee-pee whacked. Sometimes you need to learn a lesson, and maybe this is what it is.
Who else would you ban? Who else has a playoff ban currently, do you think?
Really?
Yes.
Do you need me to say this team?
Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs should be banned for 10 years.
10-year ban.
Actually, you know what? I want the Toronto Maple Leafs to make the playoffs every single year for the rest of their existence because it's just so funny.
Dude, oh my God, Dan. A reverse ban. Even if the Leafs are in last place, they automatically have to go to the first round just to get smacked.
There is a world where
dude, they have to go.
We talk about torture. You know what we should do when we have war criminals? We should make them play for the Toronto Maple Leafs or make them become a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan. That is the torture we put them through to get.
Dude, there's a serum.
Information.
There's a serum in their brain. They wake up and they wake up in Leafs Plaza. What's that plaza called?
Maple Leaf Square.
They wake up in Maple Leaf Square like, where am I? And I'm like, you're a Leafs fan, dude. I'm sorry. This is your life now.
Truly, the worst torture we could give a war criminal is planting a chip in their brain that makes them a diehard Leafs fan.
Automatic playoff. The Leafs, until the Leafs win a cup, they have an automatic playoff berth every year, no matter what.
Jack is pissed in the chat.
Oh, Jack, dude.
Jack, I'm sorry. Chris made me say it. I didn't want to bring them up.
But I think, Dan, I would even argue, dude, that there are bans for teams that haven't even made it. Like the Buffalo Sabres are getting pee-pee whacked for me. Like the Buffalo Sabres might be in ban territory. The Detroit Red Wings for the last 2 years might be in ban territory.
Hey, relax.
They might get a 1 year ban.
They
might get a 1 year ban for what they've done.
Relax. The Sabres, I mean, it's hard to ban the Sabres from the playoffs when they've banned themselves.
Yeah,
they did
this.
Like it is a self-imposed ban.
But dude, you don't. It's like an Uno reverse card, though. They've received an Uno reverse card. The first year they get in, the league goes reverse, dude. Fuck you.
That would destroy that entire region.
But that's what you get, dude. You get Uno reversed. The Red Wings have one Uno reverse card for their performance last year. So the Sabres, I think.
What are you talking? You're being too harsh on Detroit.
The Sabres might have 2 or 3 Uno reverse cards.
All right, shithead. If that is the case, then Pittsburgh has an Uno reverse card.
Pittsburgh has one Uno reverse card for the last 3 years. Yes, they do.
And now Sidney Crosby doesn't get to play in the playoffs again.
Well,
how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel?
He's leaving.
Oh, okay.
So he'll go somewhere else. But the Sabres have like 3, and that sucks.
It stinks.
That's a long road. But we need to be banning stuff more, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that we need consequences for actions. Is something we need,
dude. It is actually an incredible one. El Ring just says, "What about the Avs?" And the Avs actually might have just earned themselves a 1 year ban.
I'll tell you what: if Minnesota doesn't get out of the first round next year,
another good one, Dan.
With all their new money, if they don't get out of the first round next year, they are banned.
The Wild have a 1 year ban, dude. I love this. Because you imagine the stakes of a fucking Leafs first round if they're a Wild first round next year. If they're like, not only will we be out of the playoffs this year, but we've now activated the 1 year ban.
Here's another one too. I think Boston has to pay the piper as well. Boston has some significant chokes.
Dan, the
Boston
Bees
might need a ban.
The Bees might have received a 1 year ban for the 2 years ago and received an Uno reverse card for this year. So they might be like, they are fucked, dude. They're banned, and then when they do make it, they get reversed.
Who's even making playoffs these days? Florida
can make playoffs. Vegas actually banned. Vegas actually banned too. Florida can make playoffs. Edmonton can make playoffs. Kings banned for sure.
Oh my God, Kings are banned.
Kings have a 1 year ban.
Kings, you can't look at playoffs again for a long time.
Dude, there's only 2 rounds now. We get down to 2 rounds. We'll keep this thing humming.
Oh my God. All right. Well, we have surpassed the hour mark here. Unbelievable live show, guys. CP, you got anything else for the chat before we take off for this long weekend?
Dude, I actually had one crazy CP stat poll. I forgot to say this. I just thought this was cool. Because I was like, what's the percentage if you're up 2-0, right? And it's you win
it's like
87%. Yeah.
Is it 87?
Teams historically win 87% of the time if you're up 2-0. But Dan, if you start
hold on, Edge. Isn't it so funny how clear it is whenever CP's on a rant and he throws my name in, you know he's about to say some ridiculous shit. Whenever you go, but Dan, or like, and let me tell you this, Dan, and it's I like it. It gets me fired up for what you have to say.
A ridiculously good stat? Is that what you meant?
Yeah. No, it gets me fired up.
Yeah. Okay. So teams win historically 87% of the time. What did he say?
He said it's a kid in a candy shop, and it is.
Dan. Oh, Chris.
Gingers. Walk.
So, dude, if teams win 87% of the time, but if you start the series at home, okay? If you start the series at home and you win the first two, they win 89% of the time. And if you start the series on the road and win the first two, you only win 80% of the time. Isn't that crazy that if you win the two road games, you lose the series more often than if you win the two home games? That's actually the craziest stat I've ever heard.
That's you know what? Great fucking stat pull. That's wild.
Right? Like
I don't get
steal
that
the two
at all.
fucking road games and then you lose more often. I guess the argument is you're the worst team because you're the lower seed because you started on the road. You know what I mean? Like,
I wonder if it's just because, like, I mean, we just saw it with Florida Toronto. If you then, or actually no, we didn't see it with Florida Toronto. That's wild. I wonder if it's just because it's like, oh well, you know, then if you win the next two, then like you get home ice back, maybe.
Yeah, like you just got to steal them, and then you're like, okay, now we're the better team, and we have the 2 out of 3 with 2 home games. But that is crazy, dude. They still win 80% of the time, obviously, but still, like dropping that down that hard, I was like, what the fuck?
That is wild. That is wild. All right, that's gonna do it for the live show. Great long weekend ahead of us. We've got a huge Dallas-Edmonton game tonight. Keep on rolling through. You know where to find us. We'll be on the IG. We'll be on Twitter. We'll be on TikTok. All that stuff over the weekend. We'll be keeping you guys up to date with everything going on. We will be back Monday on the live. So, relax, Chris.
Yeah.
So don't worry about Memorial Day. We will be live Monday morning on a Memorial Day show wearing outfits. We're wearing outfits.
I was like, we are?
We're wearing outfits. And I'm not going to say what kind of update you got outfit. You have to determine that for yourself. But we will be back on Monday. Guys, check out the merch. CP, show us some stuff off.
Get the hoodie. Go get a War Road hoodie. TJ Oshie going to be on all the time. TJ Oshie's got this incredible War Road merch. It's amazing. Get the Rink Rat shirt.
I brought the Rat shirt to show off. Also, guys, big news. Starting today, we're doing a huge Memorial Day sale.
Yes, Dan.
For all of the merch. 20% off the Empty Netters store, top to bottom. So you saw we dropped all of those conference final team tees that are sick. They're disgusting. They're so gross. Grab one of those, but also all of our other stuff, the Netters Bear, the Rink Rats, the Formula One shirt, everything we've designed the beautiful game tee. That's my favorite. All that, 20% off. So hit the store, grab some merch, enjoy. EmptyNetters.shop. Grab all of those goodies, have a blast, and hit us up on the IG this weekend. We'll be buzzing, watching games.
Dan, who you got tonight?
I don't want to say.
Just the Empty Netter. We got the Empty Netter.
I got an Empty Netter. That's what I got tonight. Empty Netter. All right. Great show, guys. We love you, chat. We'll see you on the IG and Twitter this weekend. And until we see you on Monday.
Happy